people that do want to get on the watch the debate, and we also want to get started on time. And so thank you all for being here. Appreciate you. May 2021. We've got we're getting our feet under us and getting going. Let's see, Marcel, I'm going to make you a co-host. If you could help admit people, please. Thank you. So we are recording this meeting, and we'll be, Danny, our vice chair, is recording. Marcel is taking attendance. So, and then Jenny is doing the minutes. So Jenny's our secretary, Marcella's one of our vice chairs, and Danny's the other vice chair. And then, of course, Ray Allen Smith, our treasurer, will be presenting the treasurer's report. And so thank you all for being here. Good to see you. I just enjoy seeing your faces so much. It'll be fun when we can get together in person too. That's going to be a fun one. But let's see, we'll get started with the meeting we have. So the agenda is going to be the welcome, which we just did. We're going to talk a little bit about racism awareness. We're going to look at the 2-year cycle where we are, the treasurer's report, finance committee grant application presentation Q&A. That'll be Ray Allen, and then an update on the Melanie Stansberry campaign from Marcella, and then look at the resources for organizing, and then work stream updates, just who's of the officers, who's taking care of which areas, so you can know what's going on there. And then we'll talk a little bit about moving the next executive committee meeting so that we're not on the same night as the election. So without further ado, let's get started. Racism awareness. We are going to be looking at this. We have not yet begun, but just to let you know, it is on the horizon. Andrew Muffet Zacharias, thank you very much for stepping up to being willing to help with this, as well as Diane Torres Velasquez. If any of you are interested in helping with this, go ahead and drop your names in the chat, and Jenny can pick them up, and we'll make sure that you're looped in. We don't want to let this just, be swept under the rug. We're going to be addressing it, and we're going to be addressing this in a holistic manner. And so hoping to make sure that we are looking at this in all the ways that the party functions. And it's important that we address this. So thank you for your participation, and thank you for your understanding, and more to come. So any questions on that? Okay. 2-year cycle. All right, so let me share my screen with you. And so you all see that? So this is the 2-year cycle that we had from before, when we looked at the organizing. This is what we have, right, with the Democratic Party. We are at this place right here. May, it's not exactly, this doesn't line up quite right, but we have an election here in June. And then we're going to turn around and have another one in November with the municipal election. And so just to let you know, even though the municipal elections are nonpartisan in that we don't have a primary and then a general, this is still democracy. And we have a responsibility and obligation to our constituents to help them to engage in this process and be informed electors, right? So I ask that each of you consider that in what's coming up. There are several of the city council races that are going to be sort of contested, what we would consider contested, because there's more than one Democrat running in them. And so think about hosting those candidates at your ward meetings so that your people, your constituents can get to know them better. And we have a guiding document, right? Our Democratic Party platform tells us what we believe collectively. It was derived through a democratic process, and it wasn't just one person's idea of, oh, this is who we are as Democrats. It's not. It was derived statewide by Democrats for Democrats. So that gives you a good guidepost to use in helping to help your people in your ward, your Democrats, to be able to say, well, what about these issues? Where do these candidates stand on these issues? So keep that in mind as we head into that. But first off is our upcoming general election. And I'm sure you all know we have an election coming up, and CD1 is an important one. And so all hands on deck. Thank you all for participating. Thank you to those of you who responded to our survey to find out how things are going. We'll be following up with you on that some more. Marcella is she's heading that area up, and so we will be looking more closely at that. But everybody, please do what you can. The coordinated campaign has a lot of field organizers. Every ward has a field organizer. So please work with your field organizer to get out the vote for this general election. Get other people to step up to help get out the vote for this general election. Today was the first day of early voting. And I canvassed on Saturday, and good, solid Democrats did not know there was an election coming up. Good, solid Democrats did not know who they were going to vote for because they didn't quite know the candidates. So it's something we all have to do our parts in helping out with, because the last thing we want is to hand this seat to Mark Moores. We need a Democrat in that seat. So please, please, let's all step up and work on this. Does anybody have any questions about what we just went over as far as the cycle, how you can participate, anything like that?
Laura, this might be a subject for another conversation, but as a standing subcommittee chair, I'm not really sure where my role plays in terms of running resolutions while we're doing all the campaign work. I don't know if I should take a back seat and let people concentrate more on the election, or if we should be running resolutions concurrently to get people excited about stuff.
Well, I think that it has, they both have a place. And I think, and especially resolutions and rules are year-round, they're year-round committees. They're through the whole cycle. And so they're a way for people to engage in this process. And I don't think it has to be either or. But does anybody else have any thoughts about that?
I think with the resolutions, I think it's, trying to, set regular meetings, monthly if possible, and then the meetings would be less time because you'd have less resolutions to go through. And I think, I know my ward, we had gotten a couple through last cycle, but it was kind of a challenge just because of quorum issues and things like that. But I think trying to just create an ongoing process, or will engage people more than if it's sporadic. That would be my input.
Yeah, and for everybody on the call, I am going to be holding a resolutions committee meeting within the next 6 weeks. I'm going to send out an email to all of our members, all the resolutions committee members. We have 11 vacancies still. So if you know somebody in any of the wards who would like to be on resolutions, please have them contact, I guess the right thing to do would be to contact Flora eventually, because she'd be the one who has to appoint somebody. But we'd really like to get resolutions to be a full functioning committee that'll have regular meetings, like Jared suggested. And I think we've got a great opportunity to really craft some stuff that's going to get people excited and make them want to stand up for a Democrat.
That sounds good. And it's actually the ward chair who appoints the resolutions committee members. So they would go to the, after they put the request in, then I do say, yes, that's great. And it goes on, but so they fill in the form that's online and appoint. So Andrew and then Terry.
Actually, I think Terry had her hand up first.
Oh, Terry and then Andrew.
Okay, I'll just make it quick because to answer Brendan's question is that I think that we should continue doing what we need to do. We cannot allow ourselves to be wagged by campaigns. It's a permanent campaign year. And if we let ourselves stop and do nothing but get out the vote in campaigns, we're not going to be building our wards and we're not going to be building anything else. So as a quick answer to Jared's question.
Thank you, Terry. Andrew?
For me, I was just, I'm really new to this process, so I don't entirely understand it. I'm learning as quick as I can, but I don't quite understand the resolutions committee and like the purpose. So I'm just kind of wondering, is there a need for there to be like an educational thing for newbies like me or community members to learn about it? Or should I just kind of arrange something for me personally?
No. Brendan is looking at having that. Brendan, do you want to talk on that?
Yeah, what I want to do is give a 5-minute spiel to each ward about resolutions and try to recruit people. Really broadly, the resolutions committee is what pretty much forms the basis of what causes you to stand up and say, this is why I'm a Democrat. I view it as kind of like Martin Luther's 95 Theses. 95 Theses. This is my thing. This is it. And for me, democratic politics is my religion. It's my belief system. And so for me, resolutions are really important because it defines what I aim to do in government and what I think government is capable of doing. So anything that makes you stand up and want to cheer in a speech is something that could be the subject of a resolution, whether it's undocumented immigrants or whether it's gender equity, whatever the issue is, resolutions is the home for it. And that's where we really work on forming the democratic message. So I'll be getting out to the wards by Zoom and getting that going. We do have a mostly complete list of members this year, which is fantastic. And I don't foresee quorum being an issue. So I'm going to send out an email this coming week to each ward's resolutions committee member and to the ward chair for the vacant positions, and just try to get stuff moving and get organized as a committee so we can really come out strong.
So, and what I hear you saying, Brendan, is if if wards are having a meeting, an invitation to you would be a great thing, because putting you on the agenda for that 5-minute talk would be something that would save you a little bit of having to chase them down then.
Sure.
Also, if I could, Flora, everybody might want to watch for the Friday newsletter, because there's an interview with Brendan in it, and it talks a little bit more about the purposes of the resolution committee, and it has his contact information in there too.
Ah, great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Brendan, can you please put your email in the chat? Margaret.
So Brendan, I have a resolutions committee member from my ward, but would you still want to speak with us? I thought I heard you said that there were 11 openings, but that would be for wards that don't have resolution committee members. Is that correct?
That's right. So we have, 63 wards now, and we have, I think it's 52 members is what we have. I think that's how it shakes out. And each ward gets a resolutions member. So I will reach out to every ward so we can try to book me for 5 minutes, because a lot of it is communicating to each ward's Democrats about what the resolutions committee is, so we can have a grassroots resolution process.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, it's a way to engage more people, right? If we can
Does
rally
it
around the
mean
issue.
that a ward can have more than one person on resolutions committee?
No, one resolutions committee member, but more than one person can work on the resolutions. It should be a team effort as far as what resolutions the ward brings forth. It should be a team effort.
And I encourage each ward to select an alternate as well, because we're a committee that cannot work with a proxy. We actually have to have somebody there who is supposed to be there instead of a proxy.
All right, any other questions on that? All right, well, thank you very much for that little segue, Mr. O'Reilly. So at this time, next on our agenda is the treasurer's report. Ray Allen, would you like to present that? You should be able to share your screen.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen, I think. All right, hopefully you guys can see that. I got some feedback. I'm sorry I missed the March meeting. I got some feedback after I submitted the treasurer's report that it didn't quite have enough detail in it. So I've recast it so that you could see exactly what our March cash in and cash out is, as well as our April cash in and cash out. So for March, we started with 15,109 in the bank. We received cash in of $4,850. And if you look down in the sources of cash in segment there, you'll see that there were 3 buckets of contributions that we received in March. We got $490.75 from our 15 recurring contributors. We got $1,360 from one-time contributors. So those are people that made a contribution in March that is not going to recur. One individual made $1,000 contribution in March. So we love that. That was awesome. And then our candidate ad buys. So these were the ads that the candidates paid for our CCC meeting. Did I get the right meeting? Yeah.
Yes.
So we earned $3,000 in candidate ad buys from that. So our total cash in March was $4,850, and you can see down below what we spent the money on. These are very typical expenses. We have bank fees. Bank fees might look a little high to you, but that is because the Act Blue has 2 types of bank fees. So when someone contributes, there's a fee paid to Act Blue, and there's also a fee paid to their processor, which is called Vantiv. More gory than you probably need to know, but so we pay 2 sets of bank fees for every contribution that comes in through Act Blue. In March, obviously, our Zoom fees were a little high because we had a whole lot of stuff going on in March. So Zoom fees there were above our norm. Our email platform charge per month is $70. Our website platform per month, there were 2 months in March. February and March were carried in the March, just the way the timing hit the bank. So that's why that's double. Normally the charge is $19 a month. Our storage unit that we had to rent because of the closing of the DP&M office, we had to put all our stuff in storage. So that was $134. Next month, there'll be 2 charges for storage just because of the way that charge hit the bank. And then miscellaneous, $35 basically. So in April, you can see the comparable numbers. Cash in April was $1,195. That came from the same three sources. We had $410 in our recurring contributions. Our one-time contributions were $560, and our candidate ad buys, our last candidate paid in April, and that was $225. And then you can see the comparable bank fees. So let me just stop there and see if there's any questions.
What is the internet fee in April?
Great catch. Oh no, that's a quarterly charge. That's our brown rice quarterly charge.
Oh, okay, okay.
So that's why there's
web
no-
hosting. Okay.
Yeah, web hosting.
Okay. Got it. All right.
Any other questions? And if at any time you are interested in seeing the gory details of all of this data and information, I'm happy to share it. Just reach out to me and I'll set up a Zoom session and we'll go over any number you want to look at anytime you want to look at it.
Thank
Okay.
you very much, Ray Ellen.
Yep.
Okay. So, Terry, you have a question?
Yeah, real quick. Ray Ellen, are the Act Blue fees, is it a percentage of what is coming in as a contribution from Act
Yes.
Blue?
Yes.
And what's the percentage roughly? I mean, how much?
It's 2% on the Act Blue side and like 8.5% or so on the Vantive side. So it averages
10%.
out close to around 8.5 to 10% total.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else? Okay. So along the lines of the treasurer's report, and just a little side note, we are going to be looking at working with the state on grassroots fundraising. Just know that's in the works, and we'll be fleshing that out some more and have some information to you about that by our next meeting, I would imagine, at the latest. Don't you think, Rhiannon?
Hopefully by the next meeting. There may still be some things getting worked out, but we'll definitely have the plan in place by the next meeting. So taking off the county hat and putting on the state hat. Yeah, we'll have some things in place.
Yeah, we'll have at least an update on that. So
Yes.
be good.
Expect something great.
It will be really nice. Thank you, Rhiannon. Okay, and now your other one here, the Finance Committee grant application presentation. So hopefully you all got to take a look at the grant application process that the Finance Committee put together. Special thanks, of course, to Ray Allen Smith, and there is Damian Lara, and who the other two are?
Kathy Economy
Kathy
and
Economy.
Eric Sutton.
Eric Sutton. I was going to call it Eric Burton, but Eric Sutton, yes. And so that's the Finance Committee. And so I'll let Ray Allen talk about this one too.
Yep, I'll share my screen again. One sec. Okay, so the idea is that we want to help wards do great work, and we want to fund that with the great fundraising that the team has been doing. So as you noted, we have $19,000 or so in the bank. We can allocate $200 per ward for you to do fun stuff in your ward. And we've outlined some typical things we would support the funding for. There's a lot of caveats though, so just be prepared for those. The purpose of the grants is to get out the vote and activate Democrats in your ward. And we really want to focus on activities that will involve new Democrats. So we know we all have Democrats, and that, you know, a lot of them go to vote all the time, and that's great. But we want to make sure that we're opening up our minds and opportunities to new Democrats and converting DTS voters, decline to state voters. So that's kind of the idea behind the grant proposal. So some examples might be having using part of the grant money, and I know this won't fund all of it, but if you were able to have a replace brake light program with Pep Boys or something like that, where you know, a lot of people of color have problems, a lot of people just have problems maintaining brake lights on their cars, and they get pulled over unnecessarily. And you know, if there was a way to help them replace the brake lights on their cars, then they wouldn't get pulled over. And maybe we could also entice those people to vote at the same time that we're helping them replace brake lights. That's one idea. I know there's 1,000 more, and we have very, very creative people here, and there's lots of ways to reach out to people in your wards, and nobody knows your ward better than you. So that's the idea behind the grant proposal, is to bring in new Democratic voters. So think about your ward and any ways that you could entice people to register, to convert from decline to state over to the Democratic Party. And those are the kinds of ideas that we want. So we're going to allow $200 per ward beginning now through next year. You can pool your resources together with other wards, like I'm in Ward 68C. The 68s could all get together collectively and combine their ward and get $600 grants and work up a program to spend that money to activate Democrats and identify new voters. The caveats are, you can see in the grant proposal what the allowable expenses are, but there's a few things you cannot spend the money on. You cannot spend the money paying people to do something. We don't have any way to track salaries, to withhold taxes, all of that. So you cannot pay people. This has to be volunteers only. And that is really, really important. You cannot do activities directly for candidates. Candidates need to pay their own expenses. This is to activate Democrats that will then support those candidates, but you can't take on candidate activities. So you shouldn't be printing signs for candidates or sending out postcards for candidates. The candidates need to pay for that. So make sure none of the expenses go directly to support a candidate. You can do a mailer that gives voting information, like here's the early voting deadline, here's the date that the polls open, the early voting polls open, here's how to request an absentee ballot. You can do that kind of mailer, but you cannot mention a candidate in it. That's really important thing. You cannot purchase alcohol with the grant funds. We don't have liability insurance to cover anything that might happen there. So we're not going to allow that. If you have an event and you want to serve alcohol, people can bring it, but it can't be, you can't use the grant money for that. And if you do have an event with alcohol, make sure you're getting proper permits from the city for all of that. Let's see. If you can't use the grant money to purchase equipment. If you need equipment like computers or printers or whatever, please talk to Flora. There'll be ways we can help you, but you can't use the grant money for that. So the way you obtain the grant is you submit a proposal, which looks like this. It's a simple little form. It's real easy. It's real fast. And it would be great if you would complete a little, one-page document, maybe a budget, describe exactly what you want to do. If you're planning a flyer, include an outline of it. You can see what is required here, and you can add files directly to this form. You complete the form, and then the finance committee will go over the form. You're going to email it to me at rsmith017@gmail.com. Hopefully 14 days in advance of your event, because we'll need time to talk about it, make sure it's all okay, and we'll get back to you just as quickly as we can. We'll send a notification to you that the grant has been approved, and then the fun part starts. Okay, so as you know, we have to report every penny we spend to the Secretary of State's office, and we need documentation for every penny we spend. So when you finish your event, you're going to need to submit a reimbursement request, and it's going to look like this. The same kind of thing. It's just a simple form, but you're going to need to tell us and attach receipts. You're going to need to tell us everything about the event and attach all your receipts down here at the bottom where it says add file. The way to do this is, the simplest way to do this is to take a picture of the receipt, make sure it's readable, the whole receipt. We got to read the top, the bottom, the middle, the total, all the bits. We got to read all the bits, attach the receipt directly as a file to this form. All of that will get uploaded and to the Google Drive folder that I use to document all of our expenses. And then once we have all the documentation, I will cut you a check to reimburse you for the event up to $200. So that is the process, and I will stop there and entertain any questions.
And before the questions, Rhiannon, I'd like to point out a couple of things. It's not that the flyers cannot mention a candidate. It cannot be a candidate event where it's like, oh, this is their kickoff event for blah, blah, blah. But it can be like, come and meet your representative, Javier Martinez, and Bill
right.
O'Neill will be here. So come and we're going to have a great time. You know, that kind of thing that can mention them, but it can't be specifically for their campaigns. And
Thank you, Laura. That's important.
yeah. I mean, because we do want to connect with, connect our people in our wards with our elected. So it's a really good thing. And then also the, if the reason for not having, I mean, for emphasizing on new voters and different things, Damian put it really well. I mean, if we're going to already be having picnics and, you know, that kind of thing, that should come out of the ward's own funds. This isn't for that. This is to grow our engagement, not to use it for the people who are already engaged. We love you, but you know, this is to help us grow. So with that, then I think that, oh, and then please note that prepay is, we don't prepay for stuff. And so, but do not assume that you're going to get reimbursed, get approval before so that you know you will get reimbursed.
Absolutely. And the last thing I just want to say is that this is a real test, and it's kind of like a pilot program, because if we can do this here in Bernalillo County and do it well, I want to do this at the state level for every county party. So that's part of why I'm a little passionate about this. I want to work the kinks out in Bernalillo County, and then I want to take it big. Yay. Okay, questions, fire away.
We love Ray Allen. Okay, so Ray Allen, you've got a couple of people lined up, John Doran, and then Julian Trujillo.
Sure, John.
You're muted, John.
There you go. There you go.
Now I'm not muted. I got two quick questions for you. First, can we take 2 fractional grants? You know, like for a flyer in the spring and a flyer in the fall?
Yeah. Yes.
Thank
Up
you.
to $200. Up to $200. That's your max. But if you want to do it in pieces, I'm fine with that.
And then the last question would be, where did you say we could obtain that grant form?
It's actually linked in the document. It's linked in the grant application document.
Which
So the
is-
one that Flora sent out, there's hot links there. It's down at the bottom. It says process. Let me just share my screen again and I'll show you. One sec. Easier. Right down here, process to obtain the grant. Prepare a proposal. You can see there's a hot link to this proposal document right here. That's where you email it, and when you've got your reimbursement, when you've got your receipts, you fill out this form, and there's a hot link to it right there in the form.
Thank you.
You bet. Julian?
Hi, for all y'all, for everybody who doesn't know me, I'm Julian Trujillo. I'm the vice chair down in 11C. I think this proposal is really awesome. This is like a really big first step in getting like a lot of the monies distributed down to the ward level. We really do appreciate it. But Raylene, you did bring up the break light clinics.
Mhm.
And I want to make sure that that's appropriately credited, because I actually helped develop that program locally. I brought the brake light clinics to Albuquerque with the local Democratic Socialists of America.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Damian told me about it, and I'm like, boy, that needs to go in the proposal. That's awesome. Thank you, Julian.
Yeah, and actually, and just to make sure like everybody's aware of the context of that, just like we're talking about like racial equity and racial justice specifically, the Brake Light Change Clinic was actually started by New Orleans DSA as a way to educate the community about what happened with Philando Castile. He was a black man that was shot in front of his wife, his girlfriend and child in New Orleans because he was pulled over because he had a bad brake light. So I want to make sure that y'all are educated on the story on this.
Thank you. That's very important. I should have included that. I appreciate that.
If anybody's interested in actually doing a brake light change clinic, reach out to me. I can connect you with a local DSA chapter. And then, yeah, we can definitely move forward with that.
Great. Thank you.
Hi, Ray Ellen.
Yes.
Hi, it's Diane.
Hey.
My two precinct chairs, I started budgeting, they went to Tulane, and they, in our first ward meeting in April, they have a whole slide thing about the brake light program. So should I send it and have them talk to Julian also? Because they participated at Tulane University in New Orleans in the brake light program.
Yeah, if you want a grant for it, then, have them fill out the necessary paperwork. And it sounds like Julian would be a great contact to help make sure it goes smoothly.
Okay, Julian, we'll give you a call in the next couple of weeks or after the election.
Thank you. Other questions?
Damian, you had your hand up briefly. Do you still have a question?
No, I was trying to put my ward name on there and I can't figure out how to do that. So I accidentally raised my hand. I apologize. Thank you.
I got you, Damien. Don't worry.
Okay, well, I just want to say I'm looking forward to seeing what you're coming up with. And, Damian on the finance committee with me, and Kathy and Eric, we're looking forward to reviewing your proposals and getting Democrats activated in Bernalillo County. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Woohoo. Thank you, Ayan, and Eric and Damian and Kathy. Great work.
Thank you.
And yeah, looking forward to seeing what comes of it. So that was number 5 on our agenda. So next up is the Melanie Stansberry campaign update, and Marcella's gonna get that for us.
Hi, everybody. So we had a very successful Canvas launch. We had 11 locations. I don't have the exact numbers. We are in full swing. So there are phone banks every night. Canvassing is every Saturday and Sunday. I will drop the Melanie, well, it's Melanie for New Mexico site. And we will be doing, starting May 22nd, we'll be having canvassing shifts from 9 to 12, 12 to 3, and 3 to 6 to really push, get out the vote. Again, phone banks every night. We're probably going to start doing lit drops or canvassing. We're really hoping for canvassing more. And I think that's it.
I have an update. So we are going to be doing some fundraising, and don't quite know what shape that's going to take, but just know the need is huge. as I spoke about earlier, people they don't quite know about the election. And then if they do, they're, a lot of people are they're getting their information through commercials. And Mark Moores has put $200,000 of his own money into this campaign to fund commercials. And so there's need for fundraising, and we are going to be helping out with that. And I'm going to be meeting with the finance person from the campaign, Melanie Stansberry campaign, to see what that'll look like. Is it going to be a small dollar fundraiser? Is it going to be more of a, I don't know. So we'll figure something out. I love event planning, so it'll be fun. Whatever it is, it'll be a good time. And it may be something that I challenge each of you to hold something or do something. I mean, the Keller campaign has done a great job of setting an example of how a lot of $5 donations, a lot of events seeking $5 donations can really go a long way. So it could be something simple like that. But just know that we'll get you some information as soon as we get it figured out. And speaking of the Keller campaign, just know, both Keller and Manny Gonzalez, they're both seeking public financing. So now's the time. And also with a lot of the the city council candidates, they're also in the mode right now for seeking public financing. So this is something that's alongside what we're doing with the CD1 campaign. And it's very important because when we talk about getting money out of politics, this is an important way to do it, right? We want to get big money out. We want to have candidates not be not locked away in a room having to make phone calls to get enough money to run a campaign. This public financing is important. It makes the candidates accountable to the people who are funding them. It builds social capital and rewards social capital. So let's make sure that we're keeping that alongside. Thank you so much for your leadership as ward chairs, because there's a lot right now for us to do to keep people engaged in these processes. So thank you for that. Was there anything else? Did I miss anything, Marcella, as far as the funding, the financing?
So I wanted to, let me go back to Melanie's campaign. So we have yard signs, we have literature, postcards are on hold, has us texting. So we are really phone banking multiple shifts every day throughout the week. And for Tim Keller's public financing campaign, I have a flyer that his field director, Chris Rocha, has shared with me. And I would be happy to drop that in the chat because that is definitely, we're getting close. We only have 7 weeks. So I'm happy to do that.
Thank you very much, Marcella. Vicki?
All right. I just was wondering, for signs and literature, is there any location besides the airport location that we can pick them up? Because that's just not, if there's somewhere more central, that would be great.
So there are several locations around town, and if you, there literally are like 10 people around town who have SARNs, and also we could definitely get some delivered to you. So we are located all around town. So just let me know in the chat.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Terry?
I was just gonna tell Vicki that at my house, 26 Garden Park Circle, Northwest, and then near North Valley, I've got signs near John Brooks Food Town. So I'm putting it in the chat for you.
Okay, Northeast Heights is what I'm looking for.
I got that for you, Vicki.
Okay.
So I'll put my address in the chat as well. I'm down to about 6 signs, but I probably could get some more.
Thank you. Thank you all. Great teamwork. Any other questions on the Stansberry campaign? Okay. 28 days. 28 days. Let's get her elected. Important stuff here. Okay, resources for organizing. So since we last met there, we've done a couple of trainings and we've just made those resources available from the trainings. And so let me share my screen just to show you. And this is what it is now, but Danny Leva is working on, so that was this right here. This is working on the website and getting these things up there as well. But this is that document. And so there's resources. These are all hyperlinked. I'll put the grant proposal link there as well, grant request link. But this has, you know, the information, the organizational structure handout. It has the video on that, and getting lists. So if you want information about getting lists from our directory and when to use Vote Builder and how to get access to Vote Builder, that's in there. And the Team Builder directory, which is what we were just talking about. Other resources, so, you know, of course, the website and Zoom licenses. We have 3 Zoom licenses, so if you all need to hold a meeting and don't feel that you need to go out and purchase your own Zoom account, we have these licenses so that you all can use them, so that we can use them to organize in our county. So that's how you schedule a meeting there. Maps, if you want to look for maps for your precinct, this is how it is. This is where you get them, and this little link here. And then Felice Garcia put together a how-to in this, and it can be found under this link here. And then the support directory, there are some wonderful people who have agreed to help. If you need, if you have questions, you need a little bit of support, this link here will take you to some names and contact information of people to help you. So that is that. And we'll, like I said, we'll just keep adding information to it. And soon it'll be on the website as well. But for right now, you can get those resources using that document. Okay. Any questions on that? Yes, Miss Vicky.
I just had a comment that they, using the Zoom, Ivan set it up for me. We could go an hour and a half. It was perfect. So I was a little tentative about using it because I didn't know how it would work, but it was great.
Good. Glad to hear it. Yeah. Yeah. We want to make it easy, you know, and we don't want you to have to pay out of your own pocket for things that we can, you know, support you with. So it's there for you. And any other questions or comments on that? Charlotte's going to be doing a training, a precinct chair training, and we'll get her materials on there as well. And as we do more trainings, and if you have any requests, just let us know. And you can email me, text me, whatever, and or Marcella, and we can work on getting it for you. Okay, and special thanks to Terry Storch and Betsy Swan and Sue Walensky and Tom Solomon. They're on the training committee and helping out with that. And Jenny Lusk is also helping out. So thank you very much, everybody. So work stream, we're on number 8 of the agenda. So Ray Allen, see, one of her many hats, it's just, she brought this idea of agile project management. And so looking at all that we have going on with the Democratic Party of Bernalillo County, and assigning different officers to oversee different areas so that everybody's not waiting on me to make it all happen. And I am so very grateful and fortunate to have such competent people as officers and taking care of this. So at this time, I'd like to let each one of them let you know what they're working on, what areas they're working on, and what they're doing in those areas. So I'll go ahead and start now with Danny, if you would please. Where up there you are.
I mean, you didn't have to start with me. So my areas, I have, let me see here. I have special events. I have the third Thursdays, and I have communications, and communications encompass the website and social media. Massive shout out to Margaret, because she does the social media and she's got a iron grip on it. She's doing an amazing job. So yeah, my number one priority right now is the website, just like Flora was mentioning, those resources and trying to get those out, because I was informed that the number one visitor to our website is actually you all, our ward chairs, which is super cool. So I want to make sure that, you know, anything that you guys want to know or need to know is easily accessible for you guys, you know, on the home page, or, you know, something to make it easier for you guys to find whatever it is that you need. So that is my number one priority right now. I think that's it for me.
Thank you very much. All right, thanks, Danny. So if you have suggestions about the website or social media, the special events, shoot that information, shoot that to Danny, and he can help you out. And so his email, is it danny@bernalillodems.org? Is that right, Daniel?
That is a very good question that I will find out right now.
And so, but he's doing a great job, and looking forward to it. Our website is already, I think it's just so informative, and that's why we have people visiting it. But I look forward to seeing what else they have down the road for us. So it's Danny. Marcella.
So my my area is ward and precinct chairs and the biannual meetings. So I'm working with all of you and your precinct chairs, because you guys are the heart of the party. You guys are the heart and soul of the party. So if I have not reached out yet, which honestly, I can tell you who I talk to most, Dorothy, I talked to 23, 29, and 68, but I am going to be reaching out to everybody else and identifying which, where you have vacancies in your precincts. And I want to help and, you know, to support you, help with cluster meetings, and just, you know, grow our heart and soul.
And you're doing a fabulous job. Thank you so much, Marcella. We're so lucky. So if you do have something that you're needing and or recommendations, whatever it is, please reach out to Marcella, and she can make sure that we look into it. And once again, thank you to everybody who replied to the survey. We're also looking at that, and that's helping us and giving us a good starting point as well. And Marcella just put her email in the chat, so it's there. Diane, you have a question, comment? Diane?
No, sorry about that. What's a cluster meeting? I'm sorry.
So your 18s, like every 18 ABCD is a cluster. 11 ABC is a cluster. So there you share representatives. All the wards with the same numbers have the same representative, state representative. You may have, and likely do have, different senators, but you have the same representatives. So it's just a way to organize. Your 4 wards for you, the people in those wards have a lot in common as far as their representation. So it's a good way to start organizing and working
I've
together.
reached out and I haven't heard back from any of my cluster. So will you help me with that, or to the 1800s?
I would be happy to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Right, anybody else? Margaret? You're muted, Margaret.
Got it. Thank you. I just got a question directed to me in the chat about literature, because I had said I have signs, but I don't have literature. So is there some way that I could get literature to distribute or just to have available to people when they come for the signs?
Yes, definitely. So you're in 28C. So we have everything at headquarters, which is by the airport and not very convenient. So let me make a note of that.
So
let me see what
Liam just said he was going to bring me more signs. I just texted him and he said he'll bring me more signs. So can you coordinate with Liam on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so next up is Miss Rhiannon.
So the things I'm working on are two big areas: documenting all the processes that are necessary to fulfill the treasurer function. And I'm also going to be working on tasks that are necessary to work with our affiliate organizations. So those are organizations that are not directly tied to DPBC, but work with us a lot. So I'll be working on tasks and how relationships should work with those so that we can outline a plan and develop our sprint goals.
Your fancy word, sprint goals. See?
Sprint goals, stand up, agile.
Thank you very much, Ray Allen. Anybody have any questions or comments for Ray Allen? Thank you. Jenny.
Hi, everybody. Let me make sure you can hear me. I'm assigned to standing committees, and so I'm working right now with resolutions and rules. And I've talked with Flora and the two chairs. You guys probably know Eric Shimamoto and Brendan O'Reilly are both chairs, and they're going to be, Brendan's talked to you about what he's going to do, and you'll be hearing from Eric before long. We'll have an interview in the newsletter. And I'm also assigned to training, and so I'm going to be working with Danny on that too, and making sure that all of the communications stay in kind of well put together. That's it from me. And you can always reach me at yahoo.com, Jenny 87108 at Yahoo. I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you, Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions, comments for Jenny? So those are the areas, like I said, so grateful that everybody's stepping up so you can get information more quickly, and you won't always be waiting on me for this. So that's the beautiful thing. So thank you all so much, my wonderful officers. I love you. And so the last thing on our agenda is moving the next executive committee meeting, because the first Tuesday of June is election day. And so I'd rather not have our meeting on that day. So I would like to move it to the second Tuesday in June. Would that be okay with everybody? May I just say, is anybody opposed to that? We'll do that. Nope. Okay. So we'll go ahead and change the next meeting then will be on Tuesday, June 8th. But all these meetings are the same link. So just hold on to the link and put it in your calendar, and Tuesday, June 8th. Okay. All right. So I think that is it for now, but I am here. So if you have any questions, please speak now. Anybody? Anything else?
I put it in the chat, but I'll say now, Flora, this is Brendan. And Resolutions Committee will meet June 13th at 6 p.m.
Beautiful.
All right.
All right. Anybody else? All right. Well, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for your hard work. Sure appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. We're doing some phenomenal stuff and couldn't do it without each of you. So thank you. Have a wonderful night. Go enjoy the forum.